And
I got a video he sent me back in 2000 and was it 20 or something? So I meet somebody in 2024 who you said you ain't even been with. Well, when I met him in July, and then after that, when you get to know a person, I knew her because so we met July 6th at the court fight.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is crazy. We've been together over a year and a half now. It'll be 2 years next year in September. These are gifts from my man. Okay. This is what I gifted myself. Little bracelet, myself. I love having stuff that I ain't seen nobody wear before.
There's nothing more unpredictable than a woman trying to one-up a wife she swears isn't even on her mind. And yet the timing says everything. When you've got a major fight coming up, the kind that can shape your whole career, your focus is supposed to be locked in. Training, strategy, discipline, not wardrobe deja vu. So why is she stepping out just days before a massive event in a look that's almost identical to something the wife already rocked in public?
Let me tell you something. I cannot be copied. What I do is original. The number one. Copy it. Just stand straight and see your ass make a pee. Talk to me. What are we talking about?
That's not coincidence, that's calculated. In celebrity culture, especially in Fight Week promo season, every outfit is strategic. We've seen this play out before. Subtle shade through fashion, coded messages through glam squads, even accidental similarities that spark headlines overnight. Stylists know exactly what they're doing. Cameras are everywhere. Nothing is random. And the internet? Oh, they caught it immediately. Screenshots side by side, timestamps pulled, old photos resurfacing. But this isn't just another round of online noise or messy fan wars. There's a pattern here. Image mirroring, timing overlaps, competitive energy that doesn't match the public statements. That's where it gets interesting. This conversation isn't about hate or dragging anyone. It's about reading the room and noticing the moves being made in plain sight. Some people online are crossing lines with wild accusations, and that's on them. We're just looking at behavior, timing, and strategy, and asking why it looks so loud right before such a huge moment. Once again, Claressa has thrown something into the internet spotlight, and now everybody's dissecting it frame by frame. But this isn't just celebrity chatter to me. This feels like straight behavioral evidence, a live case study on what happens when pride, envy, and ego start clashing in public. You can literally watch the emotional chess match unfold in real time. Nobody was really shocked when she slid that subtle response toward Remy's team, even though they hadn't called her out first. That quiet shade, it spoke loud without saying much at all. In this sport, especially at the championship level, fighters like Claressa don't move randomly. We're talking about someone who's headlined major cards, built her brand carefully, and knows the cameras are always on. So when she reacts, even slightly, it's intentional. If you missed what actually kicked this off, let's rewind and line it up properly. I'll walk you through the timeline, what sparked the tension, what was posted, and how the response played out step by step. Because this isn't just messy online drama, it's what happens when image, legacy, and competition collide in public. And here's where it gets spicy. The timestamps don't lie. Real receipts, real dates. Back in the summer, Remy was already stepping out in her signature Van Cleef jewelry, making it part of her aesthetic long before this latest moment blew up. So when similar visuals start popping up later, people notice. Around here, we don't just watch the chaos, we break down the strategy behind every move. That's been Remy's thing for years, part of her personal stamp, her signature vibe. The jewelry, the styling, the whole aura. It's not random for her, it's branding. So when somebody else suddenly pops out mirroring that same energy, same type of pieces, same presentation, people are gonna side-eye it. It didn't feel original, it felt like imitation dressed up as coincidence. And to be fair, Remy wears that look with a natural ease that just hits different. You can't manufacture that kind of confidence. It's embedded. There's a difference between putting on jewelry and owning it. One looks styled, the other looks lived in. Then came the Super Bowl moment, and that's where things really turned up. Remy stepped out in a custom look that had cameras spinning from every angle. Fashion blogs clocked it, sports pages reposted it, even casual viewers noticed. Her best friend Juju was in the crowd yelling, "Yo, this is custom, you can't copy that." And Remy just laughed it off, totally unfazed. That reaction alone spoke volumes. Not long after, Claressa jumped online trying to address what everyone was already whispering about. But instead of clearing the air, it almost felt like she confirmed the chatter. The timing was loud, and unfortunately for her, the response didn't land the way she probably hoped. It's becoming a pattern, trying to control every narrative, trying to out-talk the optics. But here's the thing, once visuals hit the internet, they live forever. You can spin words all day, but actions already painted the picture. When someone gets so locked into their own version of events, they forget that the audience has eyes and receipts. Everyone else can see the bigger picture clearly, and the irony here practically writes itself. She keeps saying she's not chasing what anyone else has, not competing, not comparing, but the storyline unfolding in real time tells a different story. It's hard to take those statements seriously when she's publicly involved with someone's ex and then acting confused about why people are connecting dots. The contradiction is loud. Social media didn't miss it either. Screenshots, timelines, old interviews, people pieced it together in minutes. And then Valentine's Day hit, and that's when the comparisons really exploded. If you followed her for even a little while, you already know how this goes. Every moment becomes content. Every milestone becomes a rollout. Nothing just happens, it premieres. Even her first engagement, yes, the one with Tony Rich, wasn't low-key or intimate. It was filmed, framed, and uploaded like a movie scene. And let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with sharing happy moments, but the vibe felt more like a production than a proposal. Angles set, lighting right, cameras ready. It came off less like raw emotion and more like a carefully managed image. When this Valentine's Day came around, it felt like deja vu all over again. Same grand setup, same dramatic presentation, same perfectly curated shots that looked straight out of a promo shoot instead of a quiet celebration between two people. It's become a pattern, personal occasions turning into stage spectacles designed for maximum visibility.
Claressa Shields wants y'all to know that she got a big old butt.
32, 33. That's the waist. And then we go around the butt. I'm gonna start from in the middle. Yeah, that ass fat, girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like 44. So I know I lost a couple inches because, let me go to the big part of the butt. Let me go down here. See, that's the part that go off the widest. Let's try that. Girl, boo. It ain't gonna change. It did, because it's a different part of the butt. Yeah, so around my actual ass is a 45. So it's like 32, 33 up here, and then 44, 45. 44, then it gets bigger with the 45. So yeah, that's my measurements.
At some point, people start asking, is this about love or about optics? Because when every romantic moment looks like it's directed, edited, and timed for engagement numbers, it changes the energy. The internet sees the repetition, and once people see a pattern, they don't unsee it. At this point, it's getting hard to tell where her real life ends and where the performance begins. That constant need for validation has blurred every line between what's authentic and what's staged. In a healthy relationship, love usually moves in silence. It grows steady. It doesn't need a production crew or a comment section to confirm it. But you know what does crave an audience? Competition. Everybody saw where he spent Christmas. At home, cozy, surrounded by his wife and family. No mystery there. And that's when people started noticing the shift. The energy changed. Not long after, she had what looked like an online spiral, posting back to back like she needed to prove she still had a solid place in his life. The timing wasn't subtle. Then came the gifts, the flashy reveals, the items she appeared to have bought herself, presenting them like tokens of devotion. But instead of feeling romantic, it felt like she was trying to fill a silence that was speaking volumes. When someone is secure, they don't scramble to post proof. That scramble told its own story. So when Valentine's Day rolled around, nobody was shocked by the spectacle that followed. The helicopter, the dramatic decorations, the luxury details stacked on top of each other. It screamed money, it screamed effort, but it didn't scream intimacy. It felt like a response, almost like a public rebuttal to those Christmas photos that made headlines. From a psychological angle, this looks like classic overcompensation. When someone feels like they're not the priority, they sometimes turn up the volume to prove they are. Bigger gestures, louder visuals, more extravagant displays. But here's the twist. The louder the presentation, the more people question what's really underneath it. Christmas was quiet and family-centered. Valentine's Day was filmed and uploaded for the world. Every caption carefully worded, every accessory strategically chosen. Even the jewelry choices had people drawing comparisons again. It didn't feel organic, it felt competitive. When affection starts looking like a rollout campaign instead of a private connection, it's fair to ask who the show is actually for, because real love doesn't need to outshine anybody, but rivalry loves a spotlight. The painful truth? She doesn't even have to try this hard. She's talented, she's accomplished, she's already proven herself in her own lane. But insecurity can twist reality in the wildest ways. It makes even strong, successful women start measuring themselves against somebody else. What once looked like confidence slowly shifts into competition, and love starts feeling like a scoreboard instead of a connection. That's the trap. The moment you start competing for someone's affection, you've already stepped into a battle nobody truly wins, because now it's not about building something real, it's about outshining somebody else. And most people don't realize she's not just going up against another woman, she's stepping into the shadow of a whole brand. Remy and Pat didn't just present themselves as a couple, they built a public legacy. Years of red carpets, magazine spreads, interviews, reality TV moments, social media clips that showed unity, laughter, loyalty. They packaged their relationship as strength and partnership, and the public bought into it. It became symbolic. When a couple has that much history documented, anniversaries celebrated online, throwback tributes, joint appearances that looked solid, it creates something bigger than romance. It becomes cultural. It becomes aspirational. People root for it. They invest emotionally. So walking into that dynamic isn't like starting fresh. It's stepping into a story that already has chapters written, bookmarked, and defended by the audience. That's heavy pressure.
I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but everybody's flooding my comment section talking about, but how'd you catch Claressa Shields capping in 4K? This is how I caught Claressa Shields capping in 4K. Then you can get in the comments and issue me an apology, or you can just say, oh yeah, man. But Claressa Shields said that she likes jewelry that nobody else has got, and she's 100% sure nobody else has this here jewelry. I'm gonna see what the survey says, man. And this is all receipts.
And when that story represents something people see as powerful and iconic, especially in spaces where representation matters, the weight doubles. Trying to compete with that kind of history, that's exhausting, because you're not just dealing with one person's feelings, you're dealing with years of public memory. And that shadow, it's not easy to outrun. She's not just dating a man with history, she's stepping into the legend of what that love once symbolized. And that's a whole different level of pressure. When a relationship has already been framed as iconic, loyal, and built over years, you're not just forming something new, you're automatically being compared to what came before. That's exactly why the Valentine's Day moment didn't land as heartfelt for a lot of people. It felt scripted, polished, almost too precise. Every candle, every angle, every dramatic reveal looked like it was crafted to compete with memories that already live rent-free in the public's mind. Instead of feeling intimate, it felt strategic. What should have been soft and personal turned into a production. It came off like she was trying to overwrite moments that were never hers to begin with. And once it shifts into optics, once it becomes about reframing a narrative that's already cemented, the energy changes completely. Because here's the reality, you can't outshine a decade of documented connection with a few high-budget gestures. Real love isn't built in a day. It's shared jokes nobody else understands. It's years of growth, setbacks, private conversations, and loyalty when the cameras are off. You can't fast-track that with helicopters and designer setups. And that's why this keeps feeling like comparison Olympics instead of romance. The wild part? She has everything she needs to build something original: beauty, success, platform, influence. She could carve out her own love story, her own vibe, her own lane. But instead of creating something fresh, it looks like she's trying to remix a chapter that already belongs to another couple. And that's the core issue. You can't rewrite a story that the audience already memorized, especially when that story didn't start with you.
And Claressa Shields, the only reason all this is going on is because you're looking for gratification from the internet. Huh? And Claressa Shields, the only reason all of this is going on is because you're looking for gratification from the internet.
And here's the part people don't want to say out loud. This situation isn't some open book with a clean ending. There's no public divorce finalized, no big reset button, no neat closure tying everything up. That history is still lingering. You can compete with another person, sure, but competing with history, with memories people already attached emotions to, that's a battle you can't win. This stopped being about Valentine's Day or grand gestures a long time ago. Now it feels like a cycle: comparison, imitation, online correction, then repeat. Instead of building something solid and original, the energy keeps going toward trying to outdo someone else, and the internet notices patterns fast. Just look at the visuals: the fur coat, the jeans, the white tank, even the pose. The resemblance was sharp enough that longtime followers clocked it immediately. It wasn't vague, it wasn't a stretch, it was specific. When similarities stack up like that, people are going to talk. And at this point, it's not even about being messy or shady, it's about repetition. Every new post gives bloggers and critics fresh material. Every rollout adds another layer to the same ongoing narrative. It's becoming predictable, and predictability kills the mystique. Now let's address something carefully. This isn't about tearing down anyone's body or appearance, that's not the angle. But when someone constantly centers their image, angles, poses, styling as the main statement, people are naturally going to respond to what's being presented. If you make your appearance the headline, reactions will follow. The real issue isn't looks, it's the constant push to prove something. When every post feels like it's trying to validate a point, it invites commentary. And the louder the attempt to control the narrative gets, the louder the internet reacts right back. Even the people who try not to engage are feeling it now. It's getting exhausting to watch because every single move feels calculated. Like she's not just trying to convince the public, she's trying to convince herself that she's unbothered and in control. The exaggerated poses, the dramatic captions, the constant look at me energy. It doesn't scream power, it whispers pressure. The louder the performance gets, the more transparent the insecurity starts to look. It's like the volume keeps rising, but the message keeps shrinking. When someone repeatedly pushes the idea that they're the upgrade, the better option, the one winning, it stops feeling confident. It starts feeling like a marketing campaign for approval. And that's where this whole situation turns a little sad, because Claressa doesn't need any of this. Her resume speaks loudly on its own. Championships, discipline, years of grinding to the top of her sport. She built respect through skill, not spectacle. That's real power. But if the focus keeps shifting from her accomplishments to her theatrics, that's where the real risk sits. Rivals and critics aren't what slowly chip away at a brand. It's overexposure. It's repetition. It's when the audience starts associating your name more with online drama than with excellence in your craft. Brands rarely collapse in one dramatic moment. They fade gradually. It happens when the image starts feeling forced instead of natural, when every post feels like it's trying too hard, when people begin sensing something slightly off beneath all the polish and perfection. And the dangerous part? Once the narrative flips, it's hard to flip it back. When the spotlight shifts from undisputed talent to constant controversy, the energy changes. Not overnight, not loudly, but steadily. She has everything she needs to dominate her lane without comparison. The question is whether she'll lean back into that strength or keep battling a ghost of history that doesn't fight back but never disappears either. The internet never forgets, and once the audience shifts from seeing someone as an undisputed champion to someone emotionally competing online, that respect doesn't bounce back fully. The narrative starts rewriting itself, not because of what happens in the ring, but because of what plays out on timelines, in captions, and through subtle jabs everyone can screenshot. And let's be real, the vibe around all of this has started to feel off. Not powerful, not strategic, just unstable, unpredictable, and confusing. That's the real loss here. No one questions her talent, no one questions her work ethic, but when the conversation drifts away from skill and starts centering on comparison and imitation, that's when credibility takes a hit. She doesn't have to compete, she doesn't have to mirror, she doesn't have to try to outshine a love story that people already attached meaning to. But by stepping into a battle with history itself, she risks something way bigger than a headline or a belt. She risks how people view her long term. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Is she fully calling these shots, or is there someone behind the curtain nudging the strategy? Is this calculated branding or emotional reaction disguised as confidence? Because sometimes the loudest moves aren't self-directed, sometimes they're influenced. And if that's the case, who benefits from keeping this cycle going? That's the layer we're digging into next. The control, the strategy, the possibility that this whole spiral isn't random at all. If you've been locked in and you enjoy these deeper breakdowns, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment and let me know where you stand. Are you seeing strategy, insecurity, or something else entirely? And if this topic pushed your buttons a little bit, that's okay too. Hit that like button anyway, because the next video might just flip your whole perspective and have you looking at this story in a completely different way. I'll catch you on the next one.